All right, Town of Groveland, Planning Board meeting. It's the 30th of October, 7 PM. Motion to open.
So motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Up first, we have 912 Salem Street, in accordance with General Law, Chapter 40A as amended, Groveland zoning bylaw, Section 13, and Groveland stormwater bylaw and regulations. The board will hear the application made by Mark A. Aber for the premises located at 912 Salem Street, map 41, lot 095. It's in the industrial/residential R1 and residential R2 zoning districts owned by William T. Bryant III for a site plan approval and stormwater management and land disturbance permit. The application is for construction of a contractor's yard, associated site work for the project. And we have a representative here from AJOC.
That's right. For the record, Steve Glowacki from RJ O'Connell and Associates, with civil engineers on the project. With me today, sitting in attendance, is Mark A. Bear, the applicant, as well as Frank and Bill Bryan, who are the landowners, should any questions come up. The project, so first of all, the materials we have in front of you, I should preface by saying there's going to be some slight modifications to that because we've had the virtue of having a peer review, conservation input, and some other things. And we're working on finalizing those materials in the next few days. That said, the overview remains the same, and I can certainly describe those differences that we've had. So we came, to start the process, we came to ZBA, we had a good meeting with zoning board, and they pointed us to head to planning board first, as well as conservation commission. So, you know, the hearings have leapfrogged and moved around a little bit, and since, we've had 2 conservation commission hearings, very productive meetings in my opinion, and we've also had a peer review done by TEC, and we've had the benefit of having a virtual meeting with TEC to discuss a few fine points of their comments. So we believe we have a good handle and a general understanding between us of what the comments consist of. And jumping way ahead, I will say that we have no issue responding to those comments and you know, in the affirmative. So we'll be able to address the concerns they have, we hope, in a sufficient manner. So if I could touch on the site plan itself.
Do you have any chalkboards or?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna share.
Yeah, Annie, if you wouldn't mind putting on the overall existing plan when you're,
Sorry about that.
You're my son.
Do you want the new plans that you just sent me?
let's start with the existing conditions if you wouldn't mind. They should be in numbered order, I think. I hope.
I'm just sorry, I have to.
Oh, there we go.
How's it there?
That's perfect. Thank you very much. So the project is located at 912 Salem Street.
I'm sorry, can you go back one? You had a color photo in there?
Oh, sorry.
This-
Just this.
It's just a locus, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So the overall site is 22.3 acres, and it's currently occupied by a single-family house, a garage, and some other buildings on the site, which you can see here at the bottom corner on the south side. There's also existing driveway that comes in there. Some portions of it are paved, and some other portions are gravel. And there's a path that leads down beyond the wetlands in the back. For the purposes of this application, the entirety of the development will be up here on this side, right by the street. There's a number of reasons we did that. Part of it is there's a turtle habitat area in here, which we've worked with the Natural Heritage folks and came up with a plan that that satisfies them. And also it meets the objectives of what Mr. Bear would like to do. The site itself is bounded by Salem Street to the west, conservation land to the south. There's conservation land currently there, as I mentioned, associated with the turtle habitat. Residential and commercial land to the north and northwest, and a former railroad to the east, across the top. Access to the site is currently provided by a driveway off of Salem Street, as I mentioned. There is currently a driveway in there through some trees. The property itself, the overall property, is located in three districts: a residence district, R1 and R2, and then the industrial district. However, the areas to be developed the entirety of that development is in the industrial district. And would you mind moving forward to, move forward to the site plan, C4, I think would be the,
Are the owners of the property here?
yes, Mr. Frank Bryan and Mr. Bill Bryan.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. So this is the plan, that's all right, no, that's perfect, thank you. So this is the plan as submitted, which you'll see in your packet before you. We have made some modifications to the plan, but in general, the plan remains the same. In this case here, we have a building, it's 22,000 square feet. We're going to make it slightly smaller, and I'll address that in a moment. There's parking on both sides. The intent is to have roll-up doors on both sides, and really, at this point, Mr. Ray Bear is proposing to construct this building on spec. It means there's no tenants currently, so he's looking for the maximum amount of flexibility. And again, to have doors on both sides gives you that flexibility. Should you have a tenant, you know, that wants to have a drive-through, a pull-through space, or something of the like. There's parking proposed on both the north sides and south sides of the site, with an access road essentially maintained in the same general location. Stormwater for the site, and we've modified this a little bit from what you see in front of you, but is generally collected on the north side of the site, both half the building roof as well as the paved areas. It's channeled through particle separators and catch basins with sumps and hoods, and treated appropriately, and then discharged into a stormwater basin to the north side. Well, I guess more the west side. We've since modified that a bit in coordination with TEC to show a subsurface system on that side. So that's reflected in the set of draft plans we have with us. But again, I don't know that we have to get into the nuts and bolts unless you certainly prefer to, and I have exhibits for that. The rest of the stormwater collected on the south side of the building over here collects again through catch basins with hoods and sumps on the surface waters for the paved areas. Pardon me, and half the roof divided again over here also gets collected and is channeled through a particle separator into this basin to the north side of the site. And again, the point of this, of course, is to mitigate stormwater flows, to treat stormwater so that water is effectively treated and clean when it eventually discharges. The soil groups that we've used here are essentially in A and B soils, and they vary in different locations. There is we did some testing on the site, some test pits. We sent our crews out, and we did some preliminary test pits on both sides of the site and up in the back. There's a little bit of ledge up on this side, so we steered clear of that, and we're proposing, you know, again, the systems up here and down here to work with those A and B soils to maximize our infiltration, of course. In terms of zoning, we're compliant. I would like to point out one thing that's reflected in the modified plan. And Andy, I'm not sure if you can make your way to.
I was going to say, is that the modified plan where we have here printed, updated C4? It does look a little different than what we're looking at on screen.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Which one, Steve?
It's labeled Plan 2. It's the second. It's not in the full set. It's Plan 2. It's called the Parking and Traffic Control, C4, but it's item number 2.
That one? Is it? Oh, hold on, sorry.
What's the dimensions of the building, approximately?
It's big,
Yeah, I can see that, like
I believe it's 80 by,
250.
yeah, it's 80 by 250. But again, that's,
250.
yeah, that's been modified. So that's perfect. Thank you very much. So as you pointed out, this plan is slightly modified. We We made the building a little bit narrower when we pulled it over to the south side so we could stay further out of the buffer zones. And that was in response to some comment and some coordination we had with the Conservation Commission. So the plan you see in front of you is slightly smaller, slightly pulled over, 2,000 square foot building. And, you know, we think it meets everything. You can see here as well, the infiltration basin I talked about on the north side, on the west side, and the infiltration basin here is just off the sheet. But essentially that reacts the same. The other thing we did for the plan is we clarified where the trash location would be, and we plan on having a stockade enclosure up in the front with a gate, you know, to house a dumpster, a couple of dumpsters in that area, again, for the purposes of having a place to remove waste, solid waste. Could you
Got
go?
another question for you.
Oh, yes, no,
Sorry.
please, by all means.
Missing some of the basics, I think, for me. Okay, so we have a very large building, 20,000 square feet, 80 feet wide by 250 feet in length.
Yeah, I think that's the
20,
modified
was
dimension.
it 27 acres total package? 27 acres total parcel?
22 acres for the total.
Okay. Is most of this parcel treed right now?
The portions up in the front, it's probably harder to get a good sense, but if you go back to the existing conditions, you know, which is I believe, item 1, Annie, you could see the area around the residences, including that area is cleared. So we will be doing some additional clearing, of course, and pushing the tree line out on the, yeah, if you zoom into that corner.
About how many acres are you clearing? Just to,
That I don't know offhand. Don't have the exact number offhand, but I can
150
certainly.
feet, I'm gonna guess it's gotta be at least an acre and a half.
but the perimeter will stay?
Yep.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah,
The trees that would be removed, being there for 75 foot view, would be up along either side of the driveway, actually more on the left side of the driveway. Those are old pine trees.
Yeah. And what about the back?
so the back we would clear, the back portion we would clear out to the edge of the basin areas. Of course, we'll have to install the infiltration basin, so we would clear some of that. A lot of that area in there is scrub as you come through this pathway, because there is an existing pathway through there. So although it's wooded, you know, there
Yeah.
is some scrub areas, and we're trying to maintain that, essentially maintain that as much as we can.
He's in with conservation right now, they do have a 100-foot buffer zone,
Yes.
a 75%, 75-foot buffer zone. So it looks like everything for stormwater management, everything for building, looks like all the way around, it looks like it's gonna be cleared. Because I think the grades,
I see tight grades there.
isn't it high in the front, low in the back?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
It drops away, and you can see the wetland areas in the back. The grades drop down to the wetland areas in the rear, you know, which basically define that wetland area, of course.
So they're gonna have to do a cut and fill.
Yeah, most of it's fill in the back. There is a bit of a bit of cut where I mentioned over here. This bit of a knoll over here would be a cut, but otherwise it'd be fill across the portions of the back. And by the way, you can see we have some proposing some retaining walls along the edge here, just several feet high, to retain some of those grades over here as well.
Some of the questions, you know, are the hooded catch basins enough, or you're gonna do a chemical catch basin?
No, we won't have a chemical catch basin. We have the hoods, we have the sumps, we have our particle separators as well, you know, swim concentrators, and then we're going to discharge into the basins and infiltrate for our stormwater. We've provided our TSS removal calcs and everything else, but we think that you know, based on our design and then of course the review from TEC, we think that it meets all the requirements of the stormwater management.
Well, depending on the use, you know, that's gonna be for zoning, but, you see what I'm saying, Wally? Automotive, couple automotive guys goes in, truck repair guy goes in, you know? I don't know how TEC feels about a hooded catch basin. It's not
Yeah.
like there's just gonna be some car grease on the asphalt. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're worried about, yeah, I see you're worried about storing batteries, other materials and things like that that may have.
Yeah, it doesn't, you're gonna build this building just with a typical slab, you're not gonna build it for containment.
Right, that's correct, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so anything coming out, anything moving in, and a couple things, I saw the TEC had some comments, we'll let him do
Rest
his,
on that.
we'll let him come through the plan, and then I think we'll have some questions.
Yeah, just for clarity, this is your first time before the planning board? So you may have been to other boards, but,
Yeah, we definitely were.
yeah, so, but unfortunately, everyone here, including myself, first time seeing this.
Understood.
So this proposed tree line, is that an existing tree line, or is that a replanted tree line?
So we're proposing to pare back the trees. Maybe the better plan would be to show the grading plan, C2, please, which I think is, yeah, there you go. Thank you.
He has a pretty substantial tree planting.
Yeah, that's what that's what I'm trying to figure out what this is.
Sure. So the line here, so the intent with the grading, by virtue of the grading, is
Yeah.
to pull the tree line back and obviously install this.
Right.
Beyond that, yes, we have a very robust landscape plan, which we've included in the set as well. I don't have a refined landscape plan. The landscape architect's working on that right now. We should
Well,
have
I
it.
see a proposed, tree line that goes all the way, circles the whole property, so that's, you're talking thousands of trees, is that right?
No, L1, he has a proposed tree plan, but I would let him get through the plan, and then we can
Yeah.
ask him questions.
Okay.
Sure. So in terms of landscaping, if you wouldn't mind, Andy, going to the landscape plan, which I believe is,
L1, I thought I saw.
that's all one in the plan set. I think it's item number 5 in our, 4 or 5 in the plan set.
L5.
It's item 5. I think it's it says landscape plans, I think on the.
Sorry, was it one of the new ones you sent me?
It was one of the ones on the stick.
On our plan, it's L1.
Yeah.
I see that on L1.
So the plan, by the way, the plan you have in front of you, we don't have a new plan, so the plan you're looking at is the latest one that I would show you on the screen, but, so the intent is to plant that, again, robustly around the site, or to screen areas in, there you go. You can see thank you very much.
Yep.
See, we're using larger trees along the border of the parking areas to
Yep,
sort of break up
yep.
these parking areas and screen the front. And you don't want to totally screen the front of the building because you want it to have some type of street presence, of course. But essentially, we would plant these with shade trees and other trees like that, and some small shrubed areas as well, so.
Okay, so those are brought in by tree spade? You say large trees?
Yeah, they're probably, in fact, the caliper's noted on there, but, we wouldn't bring in mature trees, obviously. We'd bring in something that would mature over several seasons.
So I have one question there. On Charlie 2 sheet, you have a proposed tree line, which circles the whole property, which is why I question that is, and I just want to know the answer. I'm not going either way. But the way you've got this proposed tree line all the way out, it looks like it's either an existing tree line, okay, or you're going to be planting 1,000 trees, and which is it?
No, it's not that. It's essentially the remnants of the existing tree line. So in other words, we're pushing the tree line back. Yes, it's what remains afterwards, with the exception of the trees that are be planted directly around the building and the parking areas.
So this is an existing proposed tree line, not
That's
a
right.
new proposed.
Exactly, yes, we're not planting, right.
Yeah, I was wondering, because I was going to say, that's a lot of trees.
No, nothing like that.
Although I'll give him that's a robust planting schedule.
Yeah. No, I like the tree line. And either side of the property, it's just the way it's been. It's just woods anyway, right?
That's right. So as I mentioned at the onset of the presentation, this area over here on the south side is all conservation land. In fact, I
Yeah.
think it may be erroneously addressed on the assessors as 912 as well, but that's the portion of it. And then on this side, although there's a business up here, the
Yeah,
convenience
yeah.
store, but the rest of this is all wooded, and there's again, 22 acres, there's a huge screened area of trees all the way back to the train tracks and the neighbors as well.
So you're only really taking out about 5 acres in here? Is that about
That's right, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's a combination of working with the town, understanding the parameters of the site and what Mark Hebert would choose to do with the site, and coming up sort of with a compromise, something that works for him and also preserves a lot of the land.
No, that's-
Well, this would be phase 1 of probably, it's 22 acres, and I don't know how much exactly is wet, so. Keep that in mind, am I right?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that are prohibitive right out of the gate. I don't want you to give the impression this is some phased plan and we're gonna be back next week with something else. It's not that. Literally, the proposal now is only for that. We had looked at other residential options back there. A couple of the challenges currently is,
Crossing.
yeah, the wetland crossing, right, we'd have to have a limited wetland crossing to get there. We would also, we also have to work a little bit more extensively with the natural heritage folks because of the turtle population over there. At the beginning of this project, after several meetings with the town, we commissioned LEC, who's also our wetland scientist, to do a full study, a natural habitat study of the Blandings turtle habitats. And he did a map. We worked with the folks over there and came to an understanding, and they were very pleased with the modified plan because we're staying up out of those habitat areas. So we don't have any, any thoughts of running back there now and putting in residential or anything else like that. We had some concepts initially, but we've backed those off quite a bit.
So we'll back them off, or meaning like you had 10 and now you got 5, or is this the final?
This is the final. We don't have
you're
anything
not doing anything
proposed.
else, just-
Nothing proposed currently back there, nothing at all.
Okay, because you gotta supply that plan for a future,
Of course, yeah.
if you were
Yeah.
doing that now.
Understood, yeah, Michelin can talk about this as well. We had a bunch of meetings at the, probably for a better part of a half a year, going back and forth, having some sit-downs with the town, showing them our plans, backing things off, working with the folks at Natural Heritage, and we wound up where we are today, so. It's not like we have something loaded in the chamber, ready to, nothing like that.
Yeah, thank you for
Sure.
addressing all that.
If you wouldn't mind, Andy, jumping to the utility plan. I'll go over the utilities where we are planning that currently. That should be C3, and I believe it was item 4. I tried to list the items, and I just realized, by the way, you have to jump out every time and reload it because it's Zoom, right?
Yes.
Please share, sorry, I didn't
No,
think of that.
That's totally fine, don't worry about it. Is this the one you were referring to?
Yes, it is, thank you. If you wouldn't mind zooming into the site a bit.
Yeah.
So, in terms of utilities, the intent is to pull gas in off of Salem Street, pull water supply off of Salem Street as well, and that would include a hydrant up the front. We'd also plan electric, and what we're currently showing, although we still have to coordinate with the electric company, of course, but we're proposing a transformer at this southeast corner of the building. And then finally, the sewage disposal system would be somewhere up here. And there's several parameters that drive it up there. First of all, to be outside, to be in a prime soils location is one. The second one is to be outside of the buffer zones for the wetland area. And then finally, to be far enough away from both the building and the detention system. So that placement of that is, we believe, is a prime location. And that's essentially the proposal. The one other thing I did want to point out was from a parking perspective. So, the board has discretion in terms of parking, and we tried to figure out the best use for this. And, from a use perspective, in terms of parking, we looked at a contractor's yard. We're just trying to come up with the best use to identify that. And in doing so, what we looked at was the ITE, the Institute of Transportation Engineers, and we looked at the modeling for that and how many spaces would be typically used in that type of application. So what we're showing is a requirement of 36 spaces based on 1.76 spaces per 1,000 square feet of gross floor area. And again, that's based on, excuse me, data that's compiled in the Institute of Transportation Engineers manual. So we're asking for some clarification on that, if the board would agree with our assessment. So, any questions that you may have, we can discuss through.
Architectural plan of the building?
We don't have an architectural plan. The
Got a
only
rendering,
design we
but-
have, we've included some, and Andy, I have some of that as well, sorry.
It looks like a Morton building or some kind of typical,
That's right, it's a prefabricated building. We provided some general steel layouts for that, and we also provided some pictures. And I think in this case here, Mark could speak to this better. He literally found a building in a style that he liked and said, that's someone I want to work with. And, looked at the color scheme and the things that he liked about it. So that would be at the, there we go. That's, you know, again, in the absence of having a floor plan right now, again, the floor plan would currently show just a barren space because, again, we don't have any tenants planned in terms of where we would specifically partition those spaces and even provide bathrooms and things of the like.
How many doors on the proposed structure?
I think we're currently showing, with the modified plan, I believe it's 11 on each side.
I think that's on the Methuen line, isn't it? Where the old landscape place was, Latchy Brothers. Those are good-looking buildings. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Fire suppression systems, I take it in the building? More than one hydrant inside? Or
Well,
is it just the
it's
one in the
good-
corner?
More than 7,500 square feet, so that's
Yeah.
gonna fall on, you know, sprinkled.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. And then the, how many hydrants inside? I see it, one in the corner. Where you go? How many
Well,
inside?
that's gonna go to the chief.
Yeah.
Are you talking inside the building?
No, no.
Inside the
oh.
property.
Oh, inside the property. Currently, we have one in the front, positioned in the front.
Has this gone to the fire department yet?
We have not.
Okay, so
Probably be a couple more.
we have nothing to do with that, that's.
Yeah, I was just wondering, get the line there, so. No, okay.
Where's the water on that street, Salem Street, is the other side?
It shows on the, yeah, it shows on the utility plans. I believe it's on the other, oops, on the other side of the street, so we'd have to pull that across. This currently is supplied to the residential house, of course, but we need something more, more formative. You can see that down on Salem Street.
So it's gonna be a 12 and probably an 8 in, because
Yeah, probably an 8-in,
it was,
6-inch supply for the hydrant lines, but yeah, we'd probably bring in something like that.
the good news is, you're not gonna need, it's got enough pressure to do a fire suppression system without a pump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Well, especially with the
there.
single level too, that helps. You know, when we work on some of these multi-story buildings, of course, it's a different story, but. Do you know, may I ask, do you know if the pressure, we haven't done a flow test in the area yet. Do you know if the pressures are pretty strong on the side of town?
Yeah, we did one on Salem Street, and it was pretty strong. I don't know the exact, does 80 sound right? I think what I was talking about at the time, is that-
Would we be able to, because, you know, obviously, you know, assuming we make it successfully through permitting, through site permitting, we'll have to come back for building permit. I'd like to get my hands on those calcs if I could. I know that, you know, that we don't do the building design itself, but obviously it'd be very helpful. Are those available for the public if I was,
What's that?
the flow tests? Oh,
You'd have to talk to Colin Stokes, he's the water super.
thank you.
Any questions?
Just seeing what the presentation is and see if any folks get questions. What did
Jason?
TEC
Good right now.
report on?
Yeah, I
TEC's
understand.
got a report.
That's right. So if you'd like, I can go through the comments as well.
I got a couple.
Oh, sure.
So, depending on the use, TEC, I think Pete's on, you know, the catch basin is a hood going to be okay. You know, we've got a lot of wetlands in the back,
Truck traffic
and
and,
they still haven't gone through, what do you got, one more week left with conservation? It looks like it may fly through.
Well, that's our hope, of course. I mean, you know, we've had several hearings, and, you know, we obviously want to get back our full package to TEC so they can review the full package and hopefully give us a clean letter. But, you know, that's going to happen on the 8th, I believe, next week.
So we did, in zoning, you know, a couple of us seen the plan already. A couple of comments were right off the get-go was, we'd like to see probably a wider lane in for two-lane traffic, in and out. Some kind of a circle, which TEC also said, for turning for fire trucks, for tractor trailers, 26-foot box trucks, delivery, you know, egress.
So to that point, we've put together some turning exhibits. I don't know if you want to look at those now, but we put together some turning exhibits for both fire trucks, how we envision them coming to the site, also box trucks, and finally trash delivery. I do recall talking about the, at ZBA, about the notion of a tractor trailer coming, and I think that'd be obviously a bigger challenge. We think we can do it, especially if we widen out the entryway, but essentially what we see here is, this is for the fire truck. Yeah, for fire truck turning. So what we're proposing is fire trucks could come in here along either side of the building, back out this way, and have basically used that front road as a hammerhead, if you will, to pull in here and back out and in and around. Well, you know, there isn't a lot of real estate for turnaround, and we certainly don't want to do a widespread clearing further of the land, you know, and put like a cul-de-sac at the end of this thing, because we think that'd be kind of detrimental to that tree line especially. We'd have to push the wall out further and all that. And we think that this hammerhead design, or utilizing this hammerhead, would be sufficient. And of course, we'll provide this as part of our commentary, our response back to TEC, and we'll see if all parties agree. You know, if not, we have to go back to the drawing board on this, but that's our thought process. Additionally, we did, Andy, if you wouldn't mind going to the next exhibit.
Sure. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so this shows essentially box trucks that are able to come through, swing through the double doors. And again, this is what I mentioned about having the, not double doors, the roll-up doors on both sides, and having the ability for trucks to pass through. You know, and again, if they're only coming in and backing out, they have the ability to use this as a hammerhead. So we think it'll provide some.
Mean that Mark's not gonna rent the last 2 units, and that's gonna be open doors all the time? You know what I mean?
No, I think, no, I'm sorry.
Because I think he's gonna have something to say.
No, I should clarify. So,
You've got it goes into and it comes out, all right?
yeah, so that would be, so in the case of having a tenant that had that, that's the most challenging bay, of course, so we'd prefer to see it as a pass-through bay for any of those tenants. Any of these other tenants, someone could pull in and back right out into the ring road, you know, back right out of the roll-up door as you would coming out of your garage. We don't anticipate oversized semis coming to the site and things like that, you know, in terms of access to the building itself, but
You're gonna have tractors delivering the building. Right off the get-go, they're gonna deliver the building.
deliver the actual building itself.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be a little bit different in that case. There, we'll have the site open, and we'll have that front area open. I don't have the figure there, but I do have a handful of handouts here, I think, showing the
How
potential for.
wide is that road?
That road there?
Coming down.
24 feet, the,
Yeah, it's 24 feet.
So 24 feet in, and then it's 24 feet wide up against the building?
Yes.
well, it's 32.
Well,
If
oh,
you look
yes,
to
I'm
the
sorry,
parking
32.
space, right to the parking space is 32, depending on what they're parking.
From the edge of the building?
Yes.
Edge of the building to the edge of a parking.
So how-
Presumably, there's nothing hanging over.
So it's
32
16 feet
feet.
wide before you hit the parking on each side of the building?
Which would be an all right drive lane.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Why there's not I see where everybody's going on this. That was my question, is you gotta make access to the back of the building and not
Correct, 'cause
through it. So,
Fire may want access to the back of the building.
I mean, that's gonna be so much easier if you, and let's face it, no one knows yet who's gonna be in here, right? Okay, and let's say it's somebody that does paper storage, they're gonna bring an 18-wheeler in and they're just gonna stack the next toilet paper rush in here. How are they gonna get it in there? They're not gonna bring in 10-wheelers, they're gonna bring in 18-wheelers. So why not make an access just so they can circle the building and or come around?
Well, one of the challenges with the access in the rear, you know, and working with the Conservation Commission, you know, they stipulate parking to be outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. So in the back, you know, the buffer zone comes up near the edge of the building. So if we tried to push the pavement into that, you know, we'd obviously be impacting that a little bit further. I think it's constructible. We can easily move the wall out, you know, and build a flatter area. But the challenge on that is the pavement within that buffer area.
I think Mike Dempsey's gonna have to see the interest of health and safety. You know what I mean? You know,
I see everybody with health and safety on this one here, because you're
so,
gonna get to the back
you
of the
know,
building.
if, for conservation, Mike Dempsey's just got, there's a little bit of health and safety issue. You know what I mean, with,
You don't have to have parking in the back.
no, but you have to have turning.
You have to have a
And it doesn't
pavement.
even have to be paved.
Oh, you're
You
thinking
have
more
an
of
access
a
around.
stone duster or a crushed
Yeah,
stone?
yeah.
Could do that. So we certainly considered that in terms of doing a
Ledge
crushed
path, I
stone.
mean, you got ledge there, you're gonna have to probably hammer out anyways.
And from experience, hammerheads don't work. Okay?
Not with trucks.
Not for fire trucks, not for other stuff, the hammerheads, it's just, I mean, it's nice if it's nothing else, but when you're going in on a clean sheet of paper, just loop it around the building.
Sure.
We
We can look at that.
I don't know what that means from pulling the building forward or to meeting the conservation's regs, because I haven't seen what they've got.
No, it's 24 there, so it's what, is it industrial, you're 50 feet. So you got a 24-foot driveway, I don't know what he's got off the street. doesn't show here.
Yeah, well,
I gotta think he's 50 feet off the road.
yeah, the building itself is set on the, toward the edge of the buffer zone in the front yard setback rather, right there.
Yeah, so the front setback's gotta be 50.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you don't want some guy to try to get in there and back up and,
sure. No, I think we could easily facilitate it, especially if, you know, if the board is amenable to doing something like a crushed stone or stone dust or something like
be
that.
built to hold the weight of a fire truck, emergency vehicles, and,
Wedge pack, something.
yeah, something.
Yep.
I mean, we have plenty of, but.
Yeah, we've done-
You to design it.
If that's, if that helps with conservation, because that's its own entity.
Well, we could propose the pavement, we could propose porous pavement in that area. Porous pavement is the greatest thing ever because it's a maintenance issue, but, you know,
Yeah,
it's a small
until you
stretch.
fill it with sand.
Well, that's
you
what
know
I'm
I
saying, the minute, the first storm and you're out there sanding it, of course, it's not as effective, but it's just being realistic about it,
mean? And
but,
it's expensive, you gotta maintain it, you gotta vacuum it, so
Yeah.
I don't,
I don't see that in the winter around here.
well, maybe
paving
we,
doesn't work.
could propose the pavement around the back and talk to the Conservation Commission about it, and,
Yeah,
you know.
you want to get,
just
you
explain
need
our
to turn
position.
around the building, that's just,
Yeah, oh, I don't object, believe me, I don't like the notion of dead-ending a truck at all.
yeah. Okay, so that answers that question. Now we just gotta wait and see what you do with it.
Does Pete wanna speak? I saw him on the screen.
Here he is.
My name's Peter Olson, I'm the peer reviewer from TPC on behalf of the planning board. Yeah, I think overall, just in summary of the project is pretty accurate. TPC and RJ O'Connell met a couple weeks back. It was a productive meeting. It sounded like there were going to be some, good plan changes coming out of that. Brad, to answer your question on the stormwater, what we proposed out here to make sure we treat any stormwater coming off the paved areas is a combination of deep sump hood catch basins, and then on top of that, the particle separators. So that's how they're able to meet that treatment requirement before it gets to the infiltration basins. I know there are changes coming, but I'm sure our problem will carry those treatment methods through to the new plan as well.
Okay.
So Steve, in the new version of the plan, have you shifted the location of the parking spaces to get them outside of the 100-foot buffer zone? Is that what you were trying to accomplish?
That's right. The overall gist of the plan was to shift everything outside that buffer zone, including the parking. There was a slight tweak in the building, which, excuse me, afforded us the ability to reduce the parking a bit as well. So we were able to pull all that out. And you heard the conversation we discussed about potentially adding some pavement around the back to facilitate truck turning, which, again, I think is a great idea.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, we had a comment in our letter about emergency access, and
Yeah.
I think it just makes all the sense in the world to provide that around the building for fire trucks and anyone else who's trying to get in and out. One thing I think the board should take note of and probably discuss, and Steve, you can weigh in on this, is a lot of times with this type of use, you end up with the tenants wanting to propose outdoor storage for material laydown or, excess materials, etc. And it can become problematic, so I just want to make sure that it's noted and we talk about that, and my recommendation would be that all materials, one, either need to be stored inside the building at all times, or two, if they're going to be designated material storage areas for each tenant, that's something that I think the board, would consider looking at.
I was gonna bring that up, the
Yeah.
vehicle storage as well, outdoor
Excuse me.
vehicle storage as well.
You get vehicle storage, you have product storage, depending on what it is.
So you got a mason that comes in there, he's got a delivery,
Right.
he's got,
Pallets of block.
pallets
and-
of block, brick, now, like Pete mentioned, it could be problematic. Hey, they just dropped it on, the other guy's property.
Yeah.
So you may want to consider having everything stored inside. How big are the bays?
That was my next question.
Yeah, they're, Well, they're about 24 by, the adjusted dimension, I believe, is 75, but 24 by 75 each bay, so, and again, you know, if someone takes 2 spaces, it's 100 feet, you know, it's, rather 48 by 75, you know, whatever that is, however that is partitioned.
Vehicles gonna be stored inside too? Such a use?
I would assume it depends on the tenant, if they're gonna use this, you know, use the space like that with the roll-up doors. And again, that's one of the challenges of building on spec. We deal with this in manufacturing as well. You build on spec, we don't have all the answers for that type of, you know, use or storage or things the way that it's done, to be
Yeah,
quite
the only thing
frank.
you can have is the restrictions, you know, that thou shalt park thy vehicle inside, or thou shalt not
Yeah,
put
Well,
extra
that would be
product in
the
there.
use, depending on what, you know, that'll be held Wednesday night, depending on the use of the, if it's CDL,
Yeah,
you know, if it doesn't fit in a space, it's gonna have to go inside.
right. Yeah, or do you want the thing cluttered, or what happens if a delivery comes in either too early in the morning and no one's there to receive it?
It will
and it's
take up the
outside?
hours of delivery as well.
Yeah, just because you want the tenant there to receive it, right? Otherwise, you know, imagine,
Well, traffic patterns, I mean, the worry's gonna be, that's a heavily traveled road in the morning. It's also heavily traveled in the afternoon.
yeah, especially with,
So for
right there with
delivery,
Salem Street too.
I think getting in there with there's some challenges getting in there with a box truck.
Well, now we got
Even a
lighting
26
system.
footer.
A traffic lighting system going up in there too. Has anybody got any information on
Supposed to be
that?
in
Yeah.
November, right?
And what was the, what,
Look at the wires when you go.
oh, I
when-
see it, yeah. Oh, yeah, I see it now.
State thing, I think.
Yeah, what triggered the lights system in? Was it a traffic count finally?
No, there's so many projects going. We got, you know, the 40B.
Mm-hmm.
You got a couple of the industrial sites.
It was actually rated one of the more dangerous intersections in the state, just based off the crash history there.
In Groveland?
Oh, yeah.
Can't imagine
Every
that.
morning there's a crash, especially in the wintertime.
Wow, that's,
Like, I go out at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, there's always a crash.
yeah.
More so in the winter than there is in the summertime.
Wow.
And there's been some pretty bad accidents over
Well,
there.
the thousands of cars that that come down Salem Street and come down 97 at that intersection, yeah. It's
And then when the gas
very heavily
station is
traveled
hopping,
road.
when they have some price breaks, that's out in front of your property.
yeah, and to that point, we supplied the materials. Vanessa and Associates did a traffic assessment of the property, primarily focused on the number of
Cars that
proposed
come,
uses,
right.
and also sightline distance. We did have specifically look at that, and that was really based on our initial conversation with the ZBA. You know, and I understand they provided a diagram for that showing that it has sufficient stopping distance. And again, it's a challenging, because you're on the inside of the curve, but they looked at that and said, based on the speed of the road, their assessment of that, you know, it passes muster.
Yeah, the average speed of the cars there was 35 to 38, and I imagine once that traffic light goes in, it's going to get considerably slower.
Correct.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think VAI reached out to the town, I think originally, to see what was available for materials, because we know that that was an ongoing project, you know, that intersection because of the safety issues. And again, they were brought up at the first CBA, so we wanted to make sure we addressed that.
You have a
If
better
you-
chance of turning, coming over the bridge, coming in.
Coming in
taking
and
a
going
left.
this way. That's what I was just gonna ask. Have you done turning radiuses of 18
I think I saw-
coming in from either direction?
We did them, but they're not reflect on the diagrams I showed earlier. We reflected on the site, but we could extrapolate those and pull those further out.
Do you have the clearances to get them in?
Yeah, we do. We'll make sure we show that on the response materials so that we sufficiently address the comment. And
So Pete, on the entrance, 24 feet, is that cool with you guys? Did you,
Pete, did you hear that?
on that entrance, 24 feet, opposed to something like a 40-foot wide?
Yeah, I guess, you know, it can work for 24, you know, the applicant has stated that they're not expecting or anticipating, full-size tractor trailers to access and turn around in there, so,
I don't think you
yeah,
can restrict
I
that.
think probably, you know, for this type of use, you would normally see a 30-foot would be
If I may, we certainly don't object to widening at all. In fact, it would make things a bit easier. We were trying to make it more palatable in that neighborhood and keep it tighter, but I have no
I
problem.
wouldn't, I would go a little bit bigger if you could. And the only reason is, because you don't expect it. But expect the unexpected. Hey, I got a delivery, I'm at the wrong place,
Yeah,
you know? So it happens.
yeah, I don't object to that at all. That would work out for us. It would certainly make our life a lot easier trying to get the maneuvers around there and, make them more, make them smoother, if you would, so I do not
I
object.
don't think that you can assume all the time that someone's gonna bring in a 10-wheeler in there. You know, if it's, like I said, if it's a paper delivering, or what happens if it's a vending machine operator that does soda?
Just a triaxle septic truck.
Could be, yeah,
It's
could be
septic in
lumber,
there.
could be anything.
Yeah, you don't wanna be dealing with that nightmare. So-
Yeah,
so,
it helps to open it up because it removes limitations from anyone Mark may choose to tenant, for instance, so, but
And I
we don't
certainly
object.
understand keeping the residential theme over there, not making.
But it's
it
industrial
look like a
zone.
highway, but,
It's industrial zone, it's on 97, I
no,
mean.
no, I mean, what his comment was about trying to address it, to keep it narrow there. But yeah, you have to plan for an 18-wheeler now. We see this going in off 97, going into the areas where they're not supposed to be driving there, the one-ways.
They're going on neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah, they can't make it around the cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
constantly going out there with a rake. So, patching holes, just
Yeah.
drive right over the cul-de-sac.
Well, the funny thing is, I worked 20 years in Boston, and those guys could get those trucks anywhere, but seasoned pros in Boston,
Yeah.
But in any event, we certainly understand the comment, and it definitely, as I said, it makes my life much easier trying to facilitate those, excuse me.
A lot of those drivers have retired, if you noticed on the road.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Pete, do you have anything else that you brought in on the comments here? Because we're still this is our first hearing, so.
No, I don't think so. I think we touched on the slide.
Okay. No further questions from me, yeah. We
DJ,
have
you
residents that
anything?
have questions?
I'm sorry?
I don't know if we have residents that have questions. You want to see if they've got anybody there?
What's that?
Residents that came in?
I don't, anybody on Zoom, any residents come in for this?
Or in the meeting?
So do you want to continue this
Yeah. Continue to-
till we see the updates?
I've got a question for the board. In terms of the placement of the building in the 50-foot setback, and I know that conservation's going to be tight in the back to be able to wrap around, what is it going to take to be able to maybe give a little bit of leeway and...
It's it's 50 in the front, 25, 25, and 25.
Right.
It's not 50 in the back.
No, 50 in the front.
It's
So
50
what would
in
it
the
take
front.
to move that forward into that 50-foot?
That would take a variance through the zoning board.
That'll take a zoning board's variance, and that, he has snow storage that he doesn't look like he's going to be able to put anywhere else because of the conservation issues at Bay.
That's sort of, yeah, we're pitched in on that. I mean, we're back before ZB on Wednesday. I don't think we'd have a modification to plan by then, but, yeah, I think, I guess we're really pushing in two directions, because if the ZBA would agree that we could push into the front yard setback, we could do that. Now, that said, it does tighten up that hairpin turn of sorts coming off the street, so maybe that doesn't work.
Well, what if the building goes to 240?
240 length? Well, I think we could look at it, but at some point it makes it, it's a little bit more challenging in terms of the pro forma.
Well, this is what they're going to say.
Yeah, no, I
this is-
fully understand, yep. Well, what we'll first do, if it's all right, because we do have Conservation, the next week on the 8th. We'll modify the plan to show a drive around the back. We'll talk to Conservation about it. There's different ways we can address the material. Like I said, we can go to something like a stone dust or something like that. I would prefer pavement, of course, but we'll take a look and see what we can do. Maybe we can do porous, but porous is not great, as I said.
Right, because the problem is, you know you're going to get knotweed with any disturbance you do and you don't pave over it. Even if you pave over it and don't use it, you're going to get some kind of knotweed.
And the other problem with dust or linpack is your plows.
Right, because you're going to have to keep the snow clear of it, so,
Every
Pick it
spring.
up.
and of course, yeah, so it's really not viable to do something that isn't fully paved.
Unless you have room to move the infiltration basin back a little bit.
The new plan does kick it back quite a bit, and part of the reason for that is, one of the comments from TEC was, you know, the bottom of the basin was higher than the adjacent grade, so we actually slid it down the slope a little bit. So, you know, there's some more room up there to do sort of what we will. We can have a little dip in the road along the back. It doesn't have to match the road, so it can drop down a little bit in the back, come back up. You know, we can make it work.
So I'd like to see the new plan. And that, to your question, Jason, if you don't fool with the front setback, and the infiltration basin goes to the back like they propose with the new plan, but that should give them some room.
Yeah. Besides, if they put the road in, they don't have to keep the last bay vacant all the time with the doors open. It's gotta be a hell of a heating problem in the winter like that.
Just have a porta cochet. The fancy architecture.
So no floor drains of any type?
No, it'd be a slab. No slab.
Reclamation centers underneath,
That's not the, yeah,
Washout and,
no. In fact, and I brought this up informally, we were discussing beforehand, but when we come back to ZBA on Wednesday, we had submitted, you know, at the request of the board, a list of basically prohibitions, and it's, you know, automobile graveyard, other things like that, fertilizer plants, things of that nature that correspond really to the Aquifer Protection District. So, you know, a lot of those things would be prohibited, having a containment unit in the slab and things like that. It's just the uses that Mark would be looking for wouldn't require that type of thing. And certainly the building design, you know, it would be designed as a slab, and I think there's a knee wall, and this thing sits right on top of it, so it doesn't lend itself to a lot of modifications, if you will, you know, in the design.
so what about, everybody that has a truck inside that decides to wash their truck inside, where does the runoff go?
that's why I was talking about,
Floor drains and,
not the floor drains so much as like a chemical
yeah.
basin, or a diesel mechanic goes in, loses 7 gallons of oil because that's what a truck takes.
I think the average every day, you're gonna have a bay with that, but, if it's a commercial operation and the bay is huge enough, and it's winter, guys are gonna wash their trucks on the inside. So where's all that going?
Or outside.
Or, well, not at 20 degrees, but yeah, in the summer for sure, but, you gotta make some allowance for that, it's just, I mean, I like a clean truck, but, you know.
Well, unless,
Just, you know, I mean, I wouldn't expect to have an internal car wash either.
No, but just, hey, guys.
If you don't know, guy got a
Truck,
pressure washer, hooks it up, and
Yeah.
says,
I understand, but I mean.
it's a metal building.
It's, you know.
yeah, I mean, you know, we still, I mean, the way I envision these bays is you probably have an office component, you know, maybe something, and then the floor or whatever it is. So, you know, the feasibility of someone doing a wash down in there and not
Right.
impacting the, I mean, you know, realistically, obviously, we wouldn't want that, you know, Mark wouldn't want someone
Yeah,
spraying.
you
But
gotta
I understand the
to
comment.
Prepare for the unexpected on that, because guys are gonna move in.
It's happened.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and not that, you could have big signs all over the place, thou shalt not wash thy truck inside the
Yeah.
building, but.
We see people
Well, look,
barbecuing
we
inside,
went sit down today.
so, so, not there, of course.
That being prohibition list?
Well, that's the thing, that's what I'm saying, we have, I mean, could we add that in, no, you know, no materials inside the building? I looked at the list that we have here, and again, it's on file to be, we'll discuss it on Wednesday, but, you know, petroleum, fuel oils, heating, bulk storage and terminals, again, rendering plants, you know, all based around around that, but does it explicitly say no wash down in the building?
doesn't.
No, we could add it, I suppose, you know?
I don't, you know what I mean? What if a guy wants a detail business?
Yeah. I get it. So what, like I said, what he could use for some kind of a trap or,
So what are you
Something
thinking,
like
an
that.
MDC trap on the inside?
yeah, something. That way it'll
I
prevent.
mean,
it from getting
that's
in
for them to
keep
discuss, I would
conservation
think.
happy, yeah.
And Pete, what do you think of that discussion?
Doesn't the building code limit the type of use that can be in a building if there's not going to be any type of floor drains that are going to be hooked up to an oil water separator?
Well, yeah, that's, Sam, usually, it's basically in our building code that you can't have floor drains, but the exception would be, let's say a guy moves in with a detail shop. It's cheaper to do a reclamation center now than it would be to
Right.
beat out the concrete later. So if you have the right separator, the right reclamation center, it's what, 50, 60 grand now and 200 grand later.
Yeah, I mean,
So is-
I would think there's, again, I don't want to speak for Mark, but I would think there'd be some things that you prohibit on part of your lease. Where you say, you're not going to have
We
a,
can put it on them to put it in. We can come up with a lot of what ifs, right? And, I mean, it becomes cost prohibitive, that someone could open a photo shop in there with chemicals,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't wanna get negative, but it's like,
We've seen it. Yes, we had one of
happened.
these before, it happened here in Groveland. You
We've
put out the
also had a
rules
screw
and-
plant that went,
And,
you can't prevent idiots either.
well, true, but it wasn't being monitored as well as it could have been, and then, so,
well, they're not gonna have like, nobody's going out there once a week to do to do a field test of what's going on out there too.
Right.
And that's why we say, should there be a chemical treatment, or should there be,
well, to that point about the detailing business, so if someone was coming before you for a business license, they would have to, I assume, explain the details of the license of what that would entail in the building, the fit out. So would that be the mechanism at which you say you can't?
would they have to come to the zoning board, so that way, who's to say that when you do come to the zoning board, I'm only one of 5, that we don't say every single rental would have to come in for a use permit?
Let me just ask a question. If we put in drains in the floor, right? Then,
Sorry, can you just grab a
Oh.
microphone so people at home can hear you?
Well, I'm sure they have detail businesses with eco-friendly
If we
chemicals
put,
too,
can you hear me?
yeah.
If we put in drains in the floor, now aren't we promoting that people would change their oil in
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not trying to promote that type of,
you get Mike, just a basic question, okay? You got a commercial operation, gonna be trucks, there's maybe cars, I don't know what it is. You got a big building, okay? Guy wants to wash the salt off his truck, okay? He's gonna grab a bucket with soap. Where's it going? That's all. That's all really
going
what you gotta
stormwater.
worry about. I don't expect anybody with, 55
That's why we
gallon
got
drums
catch basins
dumping
with
it.
sumps and hoods and,
Yeah, I
Right.
mean,
So if
go
that's
on the
the
floor.
preventive,
yeah, and certainly, as Peter had mentioned, those measures are meant to capture that kind of thing on site. But yeah, if someone had a detailing business where they're anticipated to be doing that.
Right.
First of all, it doesn't sound like you'd have floor drains in there to begin with.
No.
Second of all, they would have to come, when they come for their license, they're applying for a business. What do you have for a business? Well, or, I have a groomer, a grooming business, for instance, and I'm washing things down. At that point, there would be the onus on them to fit the tenant space to even do it, if you would even allow it. And it doesn't sound like you would allow it, for instance,
Yeah,
just by
it-
virtue of having the floor drains.
my concern is just the guy does it, nobody knows about it till he's told, don't wash your trucks anymore, until somebody sees, wow, we get shiny trucks coming out of here every day.
Yeah, the operations.
kind
and again, hey, listen, it goes on the owner, so we're just trying to help you for the long run. This is the stuff we've already seen. This may be your first go-around at it, stuff that you're not gonna see, that you may be pulling your hair out like that.
Yeah, and it was tough to get him, it was tough to getting them out before, What
So,
happened down at Estes, we had all kinds of stuff that was down there, fertilizer, stuff that wasn't supposed to be there, they knew it, but somebody else brought it in,
Yeah.
and,
And I think that's one of the reasons why we sort of, reiterated the uses for ZBA, just so we can avoid that where someone would have to come in for every single possible use. If the use is allowed by right, it's allowed by right, and it's a simple process. And to Mark's point, you're not going to be able to legislate every idiotic move,
Not, yeah.
but, Mark has some recourse. If the guy's spraying water all over it and there's mold in the building, he's got a recourse to come back to the tenant and say, hey, But, it's tough to plan for every eventuality because it's a costly endeavor to have those floor drains in and then MDC
I'm
trap.
not saying, I'm not saying floor drains at all, but you're gonna have, the guy's got a squeegee, he's gonna sweep it outside, where's it going?
Yeah.
That's all,
Yeah,
that's it. Not
that
floor
happens at your house. I mean, so we can see, we can see what the lease looks like too.
Yeah, so, and then you're gonna, we've seen it, we have the guy that has a building down there, let's say he's got an electrical shop, okay? But he's doing landscaping work at his house, so he brings in 500 pounds of fertilizers and everything, just stores it there because he's got no room at his house right now, but that's in the building. So,
To be honest, I'm not even sure if we're, I don't even know if these prefab buildings even provide hose bibs for these guys to even tap into, right? I don't know
you
if
gotta
they
have
do.
some type
He's
of,
going to have water, he's going to have a bathroom in
No,
each
no, no,
one.
he'll have water, don't get me wrong, but I mean, in terms of having an exterior hose bib to plug into and wash down and,
you got a plumber. He's
That's
got a
all you got to
storage.
do is make a
Makes
tea
his
and you
own-
got a hose bib, you know what I mean?
yeah, well, you know, just saying, you know.
He's an electrician,
Yeah.
he's not paying power.
You got it, yeah, so.
Point, yeah.
So, I mean, the concept is good, and we'll tighten it up as we go along with the
I don't know,
meeting.
there's just there's gotta be just some kind of extra trap or filter you throw in to catch that stuff before it gets out in the wetlands or something, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, we'll consider that. I'll talk to, my team and figure out, is there anything we could add in terms of a treatment unit out there for all eventualities? But again, the combination of, of having the trap, the hood, the particle separator, and then eventually the infiltration. Obviously, sand's the best filter in the world, right?
Got it, yeah.
So, and then through a wetland, second best filter in the world. So, that right there, we, should,
Yeah, but everything gets treated before it hits the wetland.
we do, yeah, no, we do,
Right.
right, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want frogs with 3 heads out there, so.
No, we see that in The Simpsons, right? No, nothing like that.
So, why don't we do a motion to continue?
Aye.
Let us see the new plan.
Yep. So motion,
To when?
month? I don't know.
So,
Got plans and stuff to go.
so the first Tuesday in November would technically be next week. The third Tuesday in November would be the 21st, I'm sorry, that's also the week of Thanksgiving. And then there's also November 14th and November 28th.
Is anybody traveling for Thanksgiving? Me neither. Are you traveling?
I am all over.
Okay, you always travel, so does the 21st give you enough time for your schedule?
I don't know.
Yeah,
How about you guys?
We have things in the universe.
I was just saying, how
going
about
on.
them?
Yeah, how about you guys? You traveling?
I'm in Aruba on the 21st, but,
So that works out perfect. You'll have to take the plane back.
yeah, I've done that too, but,
You want to kick it to December?
Yeah, I would.
There's
That way,
November,
'cause you'll-
there's November 28th and November 14th as well.
I mean, we're on the cusp of finishing the drawings. Now, that said, we have some, in terms of adding this access road around the back, we have that to do, but.
You got to give Pete,
Pete, stop time.
2 hours, 2 weeks.
That way you'll have
He-
everything
he
wrapped
needs
up
2
with,
weeks.
Conservation, everything else,
Yeah,
new
well,
design.
could we aim for the 28th?
I'm okay with that.
I don't know where I'll be, so.
I'm good with that.
You good with that? You're always around. Okay, so why don't we continue that to the 28th?
Okay, so motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the 20th it is. Enjoy your trip to Aruba.
Thank you very much.
All right, up next. Kind of lost the paperwork here. I got it.
You're gonna make a motion, right? You stepping out?
No, I'm not going to step out. I'm going to bring up, what do we got, Homestead people here? Okay, so why don't we jump in here, Homestead Lane, 30-foot no-cut issue along Cannon Hill Avenue. I think we got both parties here. That's you? Cannon Hill? So I think, do you want to take the podium? State your name, address.
Kathy Weaver from 25 Cannon Hill Ave.
And what's going on?
Well, basically, I'm here for your help. Years ago, a development went up behind us and referred to as Homestead Lane. It was 5 or 6 houses that went up. And in between those houses, there's supposed to be a 30-foot buffer zone.
Well, you were here on that, right?
Yep.
Yep. It seems that the neighbors are not keeping up with that. I mean, they're constantly in the buffer zone. They're constantly cutting trees, like, and there's nothing we can do about it. They do it on the weekend. We actually call the authorities, but there's really nothing that they can do because,
It's civil.
and I'm not going to be one to go up there and just start, I mean, we don't want any neighbor problems. We're trying to preserve that 30-foot in it, which it really isn't. Do you know what I'm saying?
So Wally, you want to give us a little history? I got to think, if it's a 30-foot buffer zone, before anybody can cut down any trees of any size or any shape, they would have to submit something back to the planning board, am I right?
Right, so, and do we have a plan? And where's the lot in question on the backside, dude? That's what I need to
Lot
see.
6.
So, it's lot 6, but is it right, straight back?
Right, it would be in front of you?
Okay.
What?
It would be like right in front of you?
Right behind me.
Well, I'm
Okay.
just talking, coming down Homestead, straight back?
Straight back.
Okay, under that. So, and you've been there for how long?
Nearly 4 years.
4 years. Are you the first, second owner?
So,
Second. Were you aware of of this buffer and no cut and all that was going in there? So here's how this started off, and this goes way back to, this is '08. Okay, but actually it started before that on the design, was a 30-foot buffer zone, no cut, no clear, walking only, no dumping, no storage, absolutely nothing. And we've had some violations before you folks moved in before. I think we've been out there 3 or 4 times on this, going back and forth. So you can't do anything there. And we have had violations where people come in and one party wanted to push a fence out and goes out there with a chainsaw. So the concern I see in here is about some dead stuff. Is that what the issue is over there? Okay, so what we've done in other places, I don't know what the board wants to do with this one here. You take down a tree, you're going to put two or three more in, because it is a buffer zone. This subdivision in particular had many variations, took 7 years to go through. It was actually one of the longest in review, not because of anything you folks did, but mainly because of the way the applicants were moving stuff around. And what happened to the folks that were behind on Cannon Hill and everybody was that during the construction, there were things removed that shouldn't have been removed. And sometimes that happens. And if you want to see the greatest planning board enforcement action, go down Stonebridge. On the right-hand side, everybody moved in, okay? And they were issued a swimming pool and a chainsaw. And we have people in Stonebridge that cut back 200 feet into the conservation area in the no-builds. And ultimately, they went back and replanted it. So, an entire forest on one lot. So, so that's why that was put in. And I understand the concern with dead limbs up in the top. Where are they falling and?
We've had a couple fall. We've had them fall on the house. We have patio area, deck area that they've fallen. We've had limbs that have hit that area.
Do you have pictures?
We don't, not of that.
I have some on my phone that I could.
We do have some pictures here.
Yeah, I saw that. I was trying to figure out what that was. Is this your photograph?
I'm trying to find it.
I don't know what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, so in the color
Oh, I got
photograph, you
Yeah.
can see, so.
The dead twigs.
Sorry, correct. They're tall, thin trees.
Yeah.
And at the top, they're snapping off
Yeah.
and
they come down.
hitting homes. Our main concern is we have 2 small children who play in the backyard. These have fallen on our swing set. You know, we're just concerned about their safety and damage. We want as much privacy and to, retain that area. We are not back there clearing things. We walk back there, but we're not removing things. We did last year, and we realized our error in that, and that's why we came forward with wanting to have approval for these limbs here. So it's these trees that have no leaves. That's why we wanted to see it now, where you can see the trees that still have leaves, and then these that don't. We're just concerned about the safety of our home and our property.
Now, is that a side fence or rear fence? What is that?
That is along the front of our home.
Oh, that's on the front. Mm-hmm. And what's in the back?
It goes,
The fence goes along in front of the buffer zone, is what, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
yeah, it goes down a hill, and then that's from the side right there, and then you see the back fence, and the buffer zone, and the trees are behind that fence in the back there.
Uh-huh.
So where's the backyard?
What's that?
Where's the back of the yard?
That is-
That's it right there. That's from kind of the neighbor's
Yeah.
house looking into ours.
So did you take those down already, or no?
No, they're,
No.
That's
that's
what-
what we're asking.
So why don't we, if they come in with an arborist, right? Or if they come in with a safety issue, I don't see a problem with.
Well, the way to address that is, had we done it before, was with the tree warden, but then you still have, you know, you take them out, you gotta put them in. What are you putting in?
Well, if they're dead,
Well, the top part is dead, but then,
The whole tree is dead. I mean, you can come out and take a look.
So it doesn't say that in the bylaws, that if they cut down a dead tree, that they have to plant 2 more.
no,
Right, and
we
the
don't
bylaws-
do Reclamation.
The bylaws itself say if there's a dead tree, that you can take it out.
Yeah, I was reading through, it does say that if you are allowed to clear dead trees.
so a tree dies from the top down.
They're in the mark.
It's in the covenant, not the bylaw,
Sorry, covenant.
in the covenant.
And Sam did go out and inspect it, and they sent a letter.
It doesn't specifically denote in the covenant who is enforcement, so
Do you have to have them? Is it a neighborhood, you guys have the neighborhood association?
No.
Covenant association. Okay. Why? See what's,
I had Sam, like DJ had mentioned, as the covenant didn't identify a specific enforcing authority, it does specify the planning board is the one who approves the removal. That's why I had Sam as the zoning enforcement officer go out, as he's the enforcement authority for bylaws, our decisions, et cetera. And there's an email in there from
What
him.
trees did you remove before?
There were some, oh, go ahead, sorry.
No.
There were, on the other side of the property, there were dead ones, just the same as this. We removed those, and like I said, we did not come with proper approval prior to that, and we want to do it the correct way moving forward.
And the ones that we removed are not by their yard or,
Yeah,
house at all in
so
that area.
I'm
It's,
not arguing with you.
yeah, no, I'm just,
I actually,
and
it's
then-
nice to meet you.
We want the same thing
I want
as
the same
you.
thing.
We do.
Yeah.
It's just that, it's so, I can see, now that you've cut all of that, and all that last year, I can see everything that you do, and I know that you can see everything that I do. We need more
There
trees.
is a lot of trees back there.
No, there isn't.
There's not.
There's
I can
hard,
tell you,
do you know,
when
you
this
don't,
subdivision, before this went in, that was really covered.
you couldn't see a
And-
thing.
And that's not a fair comment, because you weren't here.
I'm saying from when we moved in,
Yeah,
we have not removed anything along the back. We've had several fall,
yeah.
but we have not taken anything out of that back.
and we haven't even mentioned the stuff that we've planted back there when we first
Well,
moved
that's
in
good.
to try to help out. What's that?
I said, that's good,
Yeah,
that's good.
yep.
You too.
I'm trying to see what
We
is,
do too.
you're looking at.
Okay.
Incentive structure.
I'm actually gonna ask for more trees, because they promised us that too.
Who is our tree warden?
Was Mark McCabe years ago.
It's Rennie Carroll, our highway superintendent.
You know, because it just scares us, because every time it
So,
comes down, we get
and
more water.
part of
We get more water.
Sam's comment was, they've acknowledged that they didn't follow the conditions. They now are apologizing, and they're going through the right steps. He also does say that the trees that were cut
The best.
is not, he cannot tell what was cut.
Yeah.
But
So
every
it's,
time something's
it's
moved,
not substantial where all of a sudden it's a bunch of wide open, clear space where it wasn't before.
Excuse me. Trying to figure out what,
Right, so
I see this in
that's,
here.
that's my thing. With Sam going there and looking and giving us feedback, can't really see where anything was cleared. So obviously there is still something there. I know obviously things change over time. Trees die, they're dying even more regularly now with different issues.
well, the drought last year killed a lot of trees.
Yeah. So how this is written, and Sam wasn't here either, so Sam wouldn't know what this looked like before it went out in there. I would like to go take a look at this myself, just because I know I walked this thing, I've been working, just so I can see what's going on. I can meet with both of you out there And I want to see it from both sides, from Cannon Hill through, and see what's going on and see what we can do to, you know, I want to keep that buffer zone there. That's what this was for.
There's no buffer zone left. There's trees,
Yeah,
but you can remember years ago, there was like, you couldn't,
Yeah.
there was like a wall.
that's right.
And since they built that over there, that big stone, whatever that is over there, to put the back patio, they came in and cleared that. I mean, you can see, I could see Homestead right, all open.
Well, that's why I want to take a
And the
take a
leaves aren't
visual.
even
What with the
gone
big
yet.
wall, the stone,
Sorry?
is that your house with a big stone wall?
Oh, it's our neighbor.
When we walked that, remember somebody was having flooding
Hmm.
in the stone wall, but that, they didn't do that.
No, no, the flooding was just because the trees were gone.
Right.
I
The
mean, once you take out
the
the trees,
trees
that suck up
absorb
some of
all
the
of
water.
the-
I mean, that was a whole subdivision.
And that's why we need more trees.
No, this was prior to, when that was a forest, there wasn't really much of a runoff. But when you take out, during construction and, you know, residential area goes in, I mean, you take away everything that sucks up the water. So-
Right, and we're not looking to take everything out, we're just looking to take.
No, that wasn't
it
you.
down.
This was back in '08.
Right,
Yeah,
no, I
that's-
know, I'm just saying right now, at this point, going forward.
So I recommend I get out there with a site walk. I want to just take a look at this. Anybody can join me. But I just want to take a look and see what's actually going on and propose a reasonable solution. You don't want dead trees falling down, but at the same time, we don't want to take every tree out so there's nothing left. So there's got to be some halfway in there. The buffer zone was put intact to stay there, that nothing is supposed to go and get out of there. But again, we don't want something dead falling on somebody either, but you don't want to clear everything out so there's nothing left.
Right, and we're not, and that's not what we're looking to do, and we're following from what he said as well, from the covenant, we're taking out the stuff that's dead for a reason, and trying to give
Well,
the
yeah,
stuff that's alive a chance to grow and flourish and all that, to help out that area.
Yeah, the
We're not
arborist will come
against,
in.
we don't want to open it up and to clear it out, we don't want that.
No, I'm not saying that you are. You're not the first resident to move in not knowing this sucker exists in every subdivision, like I said.
So
once
why don't we
things
make a
change.
motion? Why don't we leave it at this? Why don't we have, you want to go out there and take a
Yes.
look? We'll have Wally go out and, does anybody else want to do a sidewalk?
No, I was just gonna say, and I don't think that your purpose, I'm hoping, or I assume that your purpose isn't necessarily an issue with
To deforest.
your neighbors.
No,
You
no,
want to make
no.
sure that complete 30-foot buffer zone
Yeah,
stays
I have no
intact.
quarrel with
Whether it's you
neighbors.
guys, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's whoever or else around.
Right.
You want to try to keep that, which is understandable.
Trying to keep, I
why
want
we
to,
live
I
here.
actually want to rebuild it.
Hmm.
I mean, I've actually looked into pricing trees, and I was actually going to hope to ask you guys tonight, because we were promised trees in 2017. The
Who was
trees,
the,
Who promised trees?
that's what I'm trying
the
to figure out.
board,
Huh?
the board.
Yeah, that's when it was still, who was doing something out there, though?
They asked, the builder came in and asked to be released of his bond,
Steve?
and
Yeah.
he asked to be released of his bond, and they said, only if you plant the trees that you promised, and they said, yeah, and that, well, there was no trees.
Well, you can't expect them to,
Oh, no,
Yeah,
I am
no,
not
And I don't think she is. I don't think she's,
No,
trying-
no,
no,
I'm
I
just
don't
saying.
think she's doing that at all.
I'm so glad you did show that.
No,
But-
I don't think she's doing that. I think she's just trying to say there's been a lot of change and
This
there's.
isn't an
let's-
individual thing?
No, definitely
No,
not.
I have no qualm with my
No.
neighbors.
No.
This is
I
my,
don't-
Yeah, I just I don't
want-
think that's it either.
I'm trying to rebuild nature. I want the deer back, I want the woods back, I want enough so that when it rains,
Give their
it's not
contacts.
coming down the hill. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
It needs more, like, soaking up there.
right.
And I don't know what the proper word for
So
that is.
I want to go and take a look. She's going to give me the contacts. I'll set a time that everybody's, I don't care who's there, that goes out, board members, I'll zap you back and take a look at this thing and see what we can do.
so, all right,
Do you have
so,
pictures from what it used to look like before?
But I want the plan.
5 houses with Bill?
Yeah. I think the original plan. You know who does have pictures? Some of your comrades on
Who?
Cannon Hill have lots of pictures back there in the day. I don't know if you do. Of yesteryear, what it used to look like.
I might, I mean,
Yeah, just an eyeball, not historical document.
would the board be willing to to help us pay for planting trees?
Well, that's what I want to
Board
look.
doesn't have a budget to plant trees.
We don't have a budget for that, but I want to look into what was said, because I remember something about that. I'll try to pull that up.
We don't have a budget at all, right?
Huh?
We don't have a budget at all.
We don't have a budget at all.
We don't have a
No,
budget
do
at
we,
all.
Annie?
No, we don't have a budget for that. We don't have a budget at all to do that.
Yeah.
That would be.
That
We
would have to
like,
come
a-
through.
A budget for
You're not
me
getting
to
paid to be
mail
here right
things
now?
out in my office
It's a different,
supplies.
that's a different way of going about it, but we don't have a budget to say, hey,
No, what she was
yes, we
talking
need.
about was something different, and there might be something to that, but it has nothing to do with.
Yeah, but the
Correct.
bond money was given back, so there won't be anything there.
The question is, what was actually done prior to? That would be my question.
That's
What was
before-
promised, what was done? So,
That's before any of.
It was all promised and nothing was done is usually what happens, so we could be,
well, we can, I'll take a look at that. But anyway, we'll see. So if that's okay with you, Stokes, I'll be in touch, and then I'll
Yeah.
let you guys know, and then
if you see one of us walking through the yard, don't be alarmed.
You gotta give me some notice
we'll
What's
call you
that?
first.
so that I'm there. I mean,
Okay.
you let me know when?
Okay.
Yeah?
Is that so motioned and seconded and all?
Yeah,
Okay.
you want to fly a motion that,
I'll fly
I'll
that.
fly a motion that Wally goes out and does a site walk. any
So what
member of
does
the
that
board.
accomplish?
I want to see what it looks like, and then.
And then what?
And then we'll
And
come
then
back and
propose a
we'll
solution.
come back with some kind of a solution.
Okay,
And I want to look into that other thing,
yeah.
because I vaguely remember something there. I
Yeah,
gotta see what
they
happened.
were released to the bond and they promised.
Yeah,
And then that never happened.
yeah, I'll look into that.
I think luckily Wally was the chair at the time, so.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
sure he has great memories of that.
He has a very, yeah, so.
This was all kinds of fun.
Fun
So,
stuff.
anyway,
That's why I was hoping you still had pictures on your cell phone from,
we do have pictures for all of this stuff, believe it or not.
I know you do.
But where is the?
I know you do, Wally.
All right, so the motion would be Wally, any member of the board, is going to go out and take a look at the trees, put eyes on it, then we'll come back and talk about it,
Yeah.
Next
and then
meeting.
Propose a solution.
and try to come up with some solution.
To rebuild it?
I'm not going,
Yeah, I know.
I'm only one of a 5-member board, so it would be up to the board.
How does the dead tree, right, who determines whether the tree is dead before they, I mean, so they have a request to remove dead trees. And if they
I'd
are
say-
dead, I would like to have them removed so they're not falling down and breaking fences or landing on children or anything
All
like
right,
that,
I get
safety.
that.
So I would say contact an arborist. You're not going to take those trees down by yourself, are you?
I was planning on it.
If we had approval.
Yep.
The only way I'm going to give approval if we say licensed arborist.
Yeah, well, let's figure that out first. Let's see what we're doing first. We'll-
No, they can just mark the tree, he can still do the cutting down himself, he doesn't have to pay someone to remove them. He
No,
just has to
but-
confirm that they're
They're
completely
dead, yeah,
dead
just
trees
have
and
somebody
not.
write it up, hey, this tree is dead.
Yeah, that's why we marked
Yeah,
them so
they're
that
marked.
while the,
This tree has root crown rot, this tree is full of bugs, you know?
Yeah, you can clearly see, but they're marked as well.
Okay, so we got that? Was that
Yep.
seconded?
So, second for that?
To,
Have a site walk, and then discussion, and then a solution.
okay, yeah, second
Hopefully by
that,
the next meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
I gotta steal this thing.
You want to see what's next? And I did.
Thanks, Chris. Up next, we're gonna do 929, 931 Salem Street, review of the vault storage plan. We don't have a plan, do we?
Nine, do we have those?
Has TEC looked at the plan yet?
I only received authorization from the client this past Thursday, and TEC generally takes about 2 to 3 weeks for their review. So they've seen it enough to put a scope together that was then approved. But, I mean, again, it's only been 1 full business day that they've had approval.
So,
Well, today's 2, I guess.
okay, so we don't have a review back on it?
That's
It's been 2
DEC.
days now.
Oh, all right, so what do we, So the surety money's been put up, it's under review, and
Can we get a full set of plans when TEC?
You mean a full size?
Full size, yeah.
Sure,
Please.
I can print those out.
Thank you. So Pete, what are you gonna need, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think we promised a letter back on that.
They must have schedules on piping, schedules on hardware used, I would think. So is it just basically the vault? The plan's so small, I can't see.
I see the ball, I see the tanks.
I'm looking for that one.
Okay, so
This one?
just wait for the review.
So
Oh, yeah, I see nut and washer at base.
we're reviewing this, and then Pete's gonna, is that what we're supposed to be doing right now? Reviewing this, and then
We actually,
Pete's also,
I requested to find out where they are, because if you, I don't know if you were on the board, but there was supposed to be updates every 3 to 6 months on progress that was going on since we issued a temporary CO on it.
yeah, I heard the story, but I was not here, and
So I guess we'll see the plan in 2 weeks. Do they have a timeline on when they're gonna get started?
I know they wanted to get started before the winter freeze.
Okay.
So Pete's gonna have that, we'll have a report.
And we'll see that.
Weeks, and that's it. Okay.
And I believe, I believe, I did. I included the Aquifer Protection Overlay, special permit decision, or, the special permit decision in your meeting packet, and it notes that, the stamped concrete vault plans shall state that the tank is to be constructed to be watertight and there shall be on-site testing. The vault, the results should provide to the board in TEC, and then just, the information that was decided upon in, when was this? In 2021 regarding these vault plans, so you have those to review.
Okay.
All right,
Do we need to fly a motion, or we just see them?
no, that's not a motion, just see you next meeting.
All right,
When
we'll
you
see you
guys
next
are ready.
meeting.
Yeah.
Up next, I'm going to recuse myself and let Wally take over.
On 15 Nelson?
make a motion to temporarily appoint Wally as chair.
Second.
Vice chair to chair.
I'll leave it moving.
Is there a pay raise in it? Anyways. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay, so 15 Nelson Street, we've got self-storage, we've got a bond reduction request, and I see some numbers from TEC. Okay, Pete, you want to throw your input on this one?
Yeah, sure. So, we took a look at the plans, we made a site visit last Thursday. Excuse me. The only items that we had outstanding, from the site plans were, there was a section of Nelson Street, basically from the first entrance into the facility out to, Salem, that is meant to be, overlaid with 1 inch of pavement. And then the hydrant that was installed is a little bit different than the plan, but I think that was all squared away with the water department ahead of time. There's an open trench on the side of the road. I assume that's left open, just to finalize any testing that needs to be done on the water line before it's backfilled and closed up, finalized. So if you total up those 2 items, with a contingency on it, it comes out to about 14,000, which is what we recommended. When I talked to Amy about this, she raised the point that we know of the 40B project that's going to be happening on Sewell Street, and probably the Nelson Street is going to be dug up in the near future. So, there's a question of, is there really a need to pave Nelson Street through there?
Well, Nelson Street's a private way.
It's not.
It's a public way now?
I looked, I was speaking to the town clerk recently, and she found a list of accepted roadways, and Nelson Street was on it.
What year?
I don't know off the top of my
Need
head.
to find that out. So that's a town issue then. The town's going to repave that. But Nelson Street was always a private way.
Yeah, it's a private road. Bob Ericellian confirmed it's a private/accepted private road.
Right.
Whatever that
Yeah, so
meant.
there's a difference between an accepted road and a private road.
I
So,
understand.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that the town clerk found documentation that it was accepted.
Okay, we need to know what year, because that would have done a town meeting.
Yep, that's how she found it.
Yeah. So we'll see what that was. So, so in the bond reduction, you're reducing it down to 40? Is that?
I'm sorry, well, that's for for Nelson Street. The board currently has a bond of 30,000. And what I'm saying is that the board should continue to hold 14.
Okay,
That would be a reduction of 16,000.
okay.
So if I may, when we came in with Ian and we moved the hydrant,
Yeah,
so we didn't have to, there was two issues that we came back and talked about Nelson Street, where the auto body shop, Greenwood Auto Body is, there's kind of a hump
Yeah.
and there's no way to dovetail paving into what's already a good paving base when you enter Nelson Street.
yeah.
Coming down, it's pretty bad, and we decided not to put the hydrant in that way when I bought the other land. Come in, do a street crossing at 833, bring it through the gate, so we don't really have to touch Nelson Street. We do have to do a repair where there is a trench that has metal plates on it right now, and it passed the first test. It's getting probably, hopefully past the second test for tomorrow, and they'll fill the trench in, finish it up and pave that area. But the problem with Nelson Street is, we've got neighbors on both sides that brought, if it's a 40-foot right-of-way, right now it's basically 20 feet, because the people encroached on the roadways. So when we came in with Ian from Jones and Beach, we tried to say, what we did say is, we're going to put the hydrant in so we don't have to touch Nelson Street, because we don't want to be on the hook for putting everything back to the way it's supposed to be, a 40-foot road, fighting with neighbors, moving people's fences, moving people's front lawns. It's very encroached. I don't know if you've been down there and take a look at it, Pete?
Yeah, I have some pictures too I can bring up if you want.
Should they be notified and reminded?
Well, it's a private road.
It's a private road.
Okay.
And we'll find out what she's talking about, what the town accepted, but Nelson Street's always been was a private way because they own to the middle.
Right,
The town
so
accepted
each
it for
individual
plowing.
owns to the middle of the road.
Who plows it? And
All the neighbors, we all do.
we all do. So it's
Greenwood does, one of the residential neighbors and myself.
Yeah,
One does one part, one does another part, and I take it all the way up the hill.
yeah, okay. All right. Because I think Stevenson's Way was accepted, I remember.
Stevens's was accepted
Yeah.
for Chapter 90
Yeah, I'll
money, I
have to see
believe.
what that is. Okay, so the bond reduction is down to 14, or,
Yeah, that's correct.
okay,
Down 16 to 14.
214.
Right.
Okay. Comments?
Yeah, once the hydrant's done and we put Nelson Street back to patch, I'd probably like to have all the bond money. The
Okay. So you wanna do-
existing facility will be basically complete, except we're doing an as-built right now, going to submit it when the buildings are done as a whole package,
Yeah,
833 and Nelson Street. We've got Bill Holt doing the survey out there.
okay. All right.
make
So
a
we have
motion on
before us
that.
over here on, to bring it down to 14.
So make a motion to
Yeah, that's
reduce
what I'm looking
that.
at now. Can you submit the other one to, soon for the other,
What's that?
for the final bond reduction?
I mean,
Mentioned that you had some other work that you're going to be doing. And
so,
then what's
so when I'm done with the fire hydrant, we're gonna ask for all the money back?
that? Correct.
Yeah.
What's the
So you just want to
timeline
wait,
on that?
Oh, this week?
Oh, this week.
Oh,
want to
yeah.
wait on all of it to have the whole 30 reduced, or you want to?
Yeah, we can do that.
Do the 16 now and then contingent that that's completed and they give the other 14, or?
Which would the applicant like?
Yeah,
I don't
it's-
think we could do either. Do it all at once? or
We can
Do it all once.
Do it all once, okay.
Okay,
Why do it twice?
okay. Annie, note the record. Okay, motion to reduce this once we have the fire hydrant in, and we'll,
The fire hydrant's in, we just have to pass that second water test.
Yeah, complete, yeah.
so passing the test will come in, we'll expect another request for a full bond reduction.
Perfect.
Okay.
We're just reducing to the 14,000. So sorry,
Nope.
we're just reducing to the 14,000 right now.
We're not gonna reduce it
making-
all. We'll wait
Yeah,
till.
we'll wait until
it's
the
all
whole thing's
completely done.
complete.
Yeah, do it at once.
So we don't even need a motion. We can pass this off and wait until the next,
Just wait for the next, yeah.
Yeah.
Next
Okay.
meeting on that.
when everything's done, then we'll
All
just
set with
reduce
that,
the whole
Pete?
thing. Pete, that good with you?
And that,
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
okay. All right,
Applicant's good with it, right? So
Yeah, I'm fine.
Works with us.
okay, so noted. So the file says it, we'll just wait for the other applicant's request.
So we have 8:33
Another
as
part of
well.
that, as another part of that request is also
That's the other one I'm looking at?
the reduction of, it's also to reduce the frequency of the construction monitoring as part of that request. So right now, we're doing weekly, I think, and
Just your soil erosion.
you're requesting maybe a bi-weekly?
A bi-weekly would be fine. Unless there's a half-inch rain event or better, or a 7-inch rain event like we've seen over the past summer. There's been a lot of frequency of, because of stormwater bylaws. They've been down there 3 times a week during the summertime.
And
So-
we've got a lot of rain, and you definitely
Yeah,
had.
it's part of the bylaw. That's
Pete
fine.
has submitted one of the rain occurrence as well. I think in the packet I saw how it looked, stuff like that. But I didn't know, I was going to ask you, is this something that's normally, it's something that we normally do, is reduce that frequency from the
Yeah,
1
it's
week
just
to 2
based
weeks?
upon the construction site and the activity,
Yeah.
is really what it is, and stabilization. So, what do
The
you?
slabs are going in right now.
Yeah,
Slabs are in. The top of everything where it's been graded is stable for the most part.
Yeah.
We've got pretty much grass growing everywhere. The pond's in.
Mm-hmm.
That's full, that's all. Is that acceptable, grass, Pete? The pond, the top? The top of the hill. But you gotta remember too, it's got the top of the hill, which is all stable. The wall's been built.
I saw that.
First, building number 2, we start with 2, 3, and 4. Building number 4, the foundation hole's ready. Building number 2, the slab is all graded. It's gonna be formed and poured this week. They're gonna jump on building 4 and then jump on building 2. J&Z, the site contractor, they're probably gonna leave for 2 weeks, so there's not gonna be any trucks moving throughout that site. There's, basically for the last week, there hasn't been any, or 2 weeks, there hasn't been any exiting material. It's all been there and all been worked on the site. The site's a bowl, there's nothing leaving the site. I had a couple of the board members came over, took a look at the site. It's a pretty stable site. I would say all the stormwater features are in, the pond is in and stable, the infiltrators are in.
Yeah, I asked Pete to look specifically at stabilization, and it was in that TEC report I included in your packet.
Yeah, I did see that. I was going to say, Pete had returned back and said everything looked,
Yeah, I
For the most
forget, you
part,
had a
pretty stable.
percentage in there? Or am I misremembering, Peter? Sorry.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
This, I believe you had a percentage for stabilization in one of the documents you had shared today. It was the bond reduction, I believe.
Yeah, so basically what the board has right now on 830 Salem is a $50,000 bond for stabilization of the site. We were out there last Thursday, so I know, Brad mentioned that construction's ongoing this week, they're getting flat. A good portion of the site when we were out there on Thursday was a construction zone, it was graded and compacted, but it's not fully stabilized, per the letter of the law. But similar to Nelson Street, I think Brad is progressing the construction progress, those slabs are going in. My question for you, Brad, is the intend to get binder pavement down this fall?
We're gonna try. Some of the plants, what, close in December? The intention is to get binder down.
Yeah, so based off, what we saw out there for a land area that is, currently unstable, and when I say unstable, it's not covered by grass or pavement or concrete. We had recommended reducing the bond from $50,000 to $40,000, but it sounds to me like, over the next week or two, Brad's contract is going to be pushing the slabs and the paving shortly. So a good portion of, it's going to be like a high percentage of that bond reduced once the paving and the concrete for the slabs goes in. Because at that point, the site is stable and it's very low risk of any type of erosion happening.
Buildings are being delivered November 9th, so they're gonna hit it 10th or 11th.
Okay,
soon
so
as-
for this one here, we're just looking for the reduction in the frequency of the inspections to every other week,
There's nothing to really inspect, it's the same
Right.
pictures every week.
right?
Yeah, my recommendation on that is I see no problem with it. I really don't see this site as a risk. It's pretty flat,
Mhm.
the route is pretty stabilized right now. It's been graded in the fact that it's way for
Okay. So we see that the site stabilization bond at 40, reduced down to 40, so what do you want?
So are you even looking for that bond reduction there as well, or do you want
I'll
to?
come back when the buildings are in. If we can't get the binder down, Pete, everything will be gravelled and compacted. The worst case, and frozen for the winter. And it's, again, not going anywhere. It's 7 feet down, it's in a bowl.
Yeah, and you would see a pretty good percent reduction for the area of the buildings if you get those slabs in.
Okay,
So we can hold off on the
Revisit
bond
on that,
reduction, on
Jack.
the- and then I'll make a
Yeah, I'm
motion.
fine with that.
Yeah.
And I'll make a motion to reduce the frequency of the construction monitoring to biweekly from the peer reviews.
okay. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So the vote
By November
unanimous.
28th, buildings should be pretty much up, slabs, foundations in,
Yeah,
so,
so it looks like that'll be ceasing
all right,
anyway.
thank you.
When are you gonna open?
January, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Well, you can take it.
All right,
Take me home.
so let's do minutes.
Oh, that's,
Committee.
I know, I was just getting that out, getting the minutes out of the way.
I didn't.
I'm going to hop off. Thank you all. I'm going to.
Thanks,
Okay,
Peter.
thanks, Pete.
Mr. Chair, I had mentioned to Brad when he was still chairing, I had a typo. The November 20th minutes are not, or I'm sorry, the June 20th minutes were not in your packet. It should just read the June 6th.
Okay,
That's
So-
just a typo on my end.
Make a motion to accept.
motion approved June 6th?
Yep, make a motion.
Second, anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, show the vote unanimous, show the minutes approved. Okay, and then
That was a long one, the June 6th meeting. That was a long set of minutes, so thank you.
it's quick. Okay, so the Economic Development Committee, what's that?
Yep, so, this is to appoint a member of the planning board to the Economic Development Committee. I put a write-up on the committee in your meeting packet. Give me a second,
This John Schmidt's committee, old committee?
I am not sure whose committee it used to be. Bill Dunn is the current chair. And the way it is set up, sorry, give me one quick second to just pull it up so I'm not misquoting. So it's 6 members of the committee shall own a business in town. 1 member shall be a representative of the planning board, 1 shall be a representative of the zoning board, and 1 shall be a resident. And so we are looking for a representative of the planning board
When's it?
to,
What night?
the meetings are the last Thursday of the month at 5 PM here at Town Hall.
Any volunteers? Take one step forward.
I can do any other night but Thursday night.
my schedule's a little bit too wacky. I mean, I could be put on as a standby,
Yeah, I
but,
mean, I can try it.
what's that?
I can try it. See till the,
What time they over?
They've only had 2 meetings so far. Jason, are you part of it? No? Okay.
Jason should be part of it.
I believe the first meeting, I was at the first meeting and it was maybe 45 minutes. The second one I do believe was longer, but they were creating their mission statement.
This is just starting out.
I believe the meeting coming up for the November meeting, I
Wanna
believe would be
alternate?
the 3rd meeting that they would have.
let me give it a shot, because they meet once a month?
Correct. It's what did I say? The last Thursday of the month at 5 PM
They
here
just
at
did
Town Hall.
CPC, so.
Yeah. and I can
I'll
take
share it
the-
with you if you want.
Okay, there we go.
I'll give it a go. After January, I free up a little bit from my own stuff, so. Let me, go for me for now, and then I'll find out from the wife, the boss, and to make sure if, see how that flies.
Cut you loose there, huh? Yeah. So, all right, so we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to nominate,
DJ.
Here you go. It's over here. We got nameplates now.
yes, DJ, for the Economic and Planning Board.
Second, anybody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the vote unanimous.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
What else you get?
All right, so for my updates, for those who were there at the last meeting, congratulations, the master plan has been approved. And Nez and Associates, who were the consultants who helped us with the plan, submitted it to the MMA for the Massachusetts Municipal Association for like their comprehensive master plan contest. I believe the awards go out in January, so I'll keep you all updated as to how that goes. Billis Way has submitted their as-built plan. TEC has already done one sweep through of reviews. There are some things they need to address.
Lot of luck with that
The
one.
taxes on those 2 parcels that are to be donated to the town have been paid for. So that's promising.
Excellent.
Wow.
Sounds very good.
On Billis Way, correct.
Okay.
So, hopefully, we're very much on track for it to be accepted at the town meeting next year, or for at least, I shouldn't say for it to be accepted, for it to be on the warrant for acceptance at the town meeting next year. It's gone out to, the relevant departments in town for review as well, light department, water and sewer, et cetera.
When is that? The town meeting in
It is the last Monday of April.
April?
Yeah, so there's still plenty of time. We'll need to first accept the plan and then go through the process of street acceptance, which starts with the Board of Selectmen, gets kicked to the Planning Board, back to the Board of Selectmen to be placed on the warrant. It involves a public hearing. There's a lot of procedural stuff.
And how long after that does Billis Way start getting
Once it gets accepted, that's it. They stop picking up that.
Yep, correct.
notification goes out to Waste Management, and they start getting all
Yeah.
all that good stuff?
Exactly, but they
That
will
day,
not
and next day.
receive,
Awesome.
they will not receive plowing or trash pickup until
Till it's
town
accepted.
meeting.
Okay.
So even though, the as-bilt's been accepted, and if we get it on the warrant, it does not mean that they get those services.
Oh,
Because
we're that
town
much
meeting-
closer.
Town meeting could always say, nope, so we
Correct,
don't
right,
want to
yep.
create a
They
bad,
have.
yeah, we don't want
They
to
have,
create
yeah.
a bad precedent. And then 895 Salem Street, Baldini and Daniels location there. They have also submitted their as-built. TEC has conducted their first round of comments. I only got them back at the end of last week, so it was too late to get anything out. I need to obviously speak with the chair, but they should be on the agenda for the next meeting for as-built as well as a bond reduction. So there's that. And then, other than that, the Katy Lane project is moving along well.
Which one?
106 King Street.
Oh, yeah, okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it looks
Nothing
good.
else? Motion adjourned?
And I just was, before that, I wanted to say I went to the Pumpkin Fest, Groveland Pumpkin Day, and it was a great time. My kids love it. It was packed It was really well done. So to the board and all the volunteers and stuff, thank you for the time. Just wanted to say thank you because it's a good time for adults and children, so good job.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Can we just confirm when the next meeting is going to be, just so I can, because I
November
have
28th.
people ask. Okay.
We're gonna wait till then. We don't need anything before that.
Motion adjourned?
Second.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Short of meeting,
Happy Halloween.
adjourned.
Happy
Thank you all
Halloween.
for watching.